Welcome to this Foundations of Reading test prep lesson, proudly presented by foundationsofreading.com. This video is made for anyone who is on the path to become a licensed teacher and you need to pass the Foundations of Reading exam. We have presented and created a complete program that makes passing simple. In order to get access and log in, I'm just going to click the My Prep button right here. If you have been following along with the other videos that we've created, you know that we've already gone through part of our program. And in this lesson, I'm going to click the workbook. I'm going to go to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is also called, on the actual exam, is Exam Competency Number 3, and this title and content knowledge asks you to demonstrate your awareness for reading, assessment, and instruction. Although this is the smallest portion of the exam, it is still worth 18%. This is still extremely important. It's just that Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 are worth a larger portion of the exam. However, you need to know each section very well in order to get that passing score. What you don't want to do is pay, prepare, and then fail. You want to pay, prepare, and then pass. So if you are the type of person who would appreciate getting prepared faster and you want all of the information and content delivered in one simple place, again, just head on over to foundationsofreading.com and we have you covered. Now let's go on to start here at objective number 8, and this is going to be demonstrating your understanding of assessing reading development. So as a teacher, we not only have to teach, but we have to figure out who has learned the material and who needs additional support for it. We do that specifically through assessment. And in this case, we have 5 different types of assessments: formative, summative, screening, diagnostic, and then a pre or post. So what we are asked here to do is match each assessment type to the description below. Now let's go ahead here, and if you're following along with this video, make sure that you become an active learner, not just a passive learner. So pause the video here and actually, either say out loud or just write these down. Where would you put this? Don't just watch me do it. It's going to help activate your brain if you literally do it, on your piece of paper, say it out loud. But best case is actually when you actually do the exercise yourself. Okay, so this video is supposed to be a resource. It's not supposed to do the work for you. All right, this Foundations of Reading exam is much too important for your career as a licensed teacher. You want to give yourself all of the resources that you can. So let's begin here. Which students may be at risk given to all students at the start of the year to identify who needs closer monitoring? That is called screening. So we'll put that here. Exactly which specific skills is the student missing? Let's see. What would that be? That would be the diagnostic. If you remember, that's how we start our Foundations of Reading. After the About the test, we provide you with a diagnostic exam. I've already made a video about that. We completed it together. Hopefully you watch that. If not, make sure that you go back and complete that lesson as well. All right, so I'm going to put this here, and there we go. Next up is the student responding to instruction. Okay, so this would be formative, and 4th, has this student achieved the grade level standard? That, of course, would be given at the end of a chapter or unit or year. It's called a summative assessment. Did this instruction produce measurable growth? This is how we can check program evaluation. Now let's go here and check our answers. Excellent. We've got 5 out of 5. Let's keep this going. Next up, we are asked to match key assessment types, where we have norm referenced, reliability, criterion referenced, and validity. So on your Foundations of Reading exam, you'll be asked to demonstrate your understanding of the different types of assessments. Let's go ahead and read the definition and see if we can match them. the degree to which an assessment actually measures what it claims to measure. That is the validity of an assessment. The degree to which an assessment produces consistent results, that is the reliability. So if a school in North Carolina uses a standardized test, and then a school in California uses a standardized test, it would be considered a reliable exam if it produces similar results across schools, or what, no matter what teacher provided it, etc. and so forth. Next up, compares a student's performance to a national sample. This is norm referenced. Compares a student's performance to a specific standard or benchmark. That is criterion referenced. We'll put that there. We'll check our answers. We got 4 out of 4. Nice job. If you appreciate these test prep videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Let's keep going. Classify screening versus diagnostic assessment. These two types are frequently confused on the exam. All right, so we have screening down here, we have diagnostic over there, and we need to drag and drop these into the appropriate container box. So, given to every student at the start of the year, that's screening, used after a student is flagged as at risk to identify exact skill gaps. That is diagnostic. Takes 3 to 5 minutes per student, identifies who needs further evaluation. That is screening. Results directly guide which phonics patterns or skills to target in intervention. That would go on to diagnostic. Results place students in benchmark categories. So okay, that would be screening, and then uses a detailed phonics survey or spelling inventory to pinpoint specific deficits. Diagnostic, let's check. And we got 6 out of 6 correct. Nice work there. Now let's go on to match the correct assessment tool with what it actually measures. So in here, we're having a look at what each of these actually measures. So we have the assessment tool, and then pause the video here, and what you'll want to do is match the correct, what it measures to the actual assessment tool. So let's start here. All right, I'm going to just look at this myself, and let's begin. So I'm going to drag and drop the screening, identify student at risk, reading competencies such as phonics, fluency, and so forth. Here we have a running record. So what is a running record used for? Is it spelling development? No. Progress monitoring? No. Reading levels? Perhaps. I like this one even more. Reading accuracy, error patterns. Okay, yep, I'm going to put that there. Next up, we have informal reading inventory, also known as the IRI, and that is the individual reading levels, so independent, instructional, and frustrational reading levels. Next up, curriculum-based measurement. What do we put here? This is the progress monitoring. Put that down there. And then spelling inventory is the spelling development. That's what it actually helps measure. So let's check it. 5 out of 5. Nice job. Appreciate your help with that. All right. Next up, we're going straight to objective number 9 on this test. Notice here how foundationsofreading.com, our test prep, is exactly aligned with the real exam. So, instruction for reading. Match the simple view. All right, so we have our educational theorists who are also presented in our study guide if you need a refresher on that. If either component is near 0 or reading comprehension collapses, match each component to its definition. So we have decoding, language comprehension, and reading comprehension. And so what I'm going to do is read all 3 of these, and then we'll try to match it. But again, before I do, make sure you pause the video and you match them as well. So the ultimate goal of reading is to understand that which was read, so that would be reading comprehension. Translating print into spoken language, that is decoding. And then understanding spoken or written language would be language comprehension. Let's check our answers, and we got 3 out of 3. Nice job. All right, next up, we're going to be working with more reading development and the models of reading development for predictability. We have consolidated alphabetic, we have partial alphabetic, pre-alphabetic, and full alphabetic. And what we want to do is match each of the four together. So memorizes words by visual shape or distinctive features without using letter sound knowledge, cannot read unfamiliar words. That stage of reading is called, where are we at here? Pre-alphabetic. There it is. Next up, uses some letter sound knowledge, typically first and last consonants, but still relies heavily on visual memory. Visual memory would be partial. And then third, completely maps letters to phonemes. Can decode unfamiliar words using phonics. That would be full alphabetic stage of reading. And finally, reads in chunks, morphemes, and rhymes automatically. Efficient, fluent word recognition is consolidated alphabetic. So almost getting to the full. Let's check it. And we have 4 out of 4. There we go. Next up, we are working with Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 instruction. We've talked about this in past videos. Let's go and do a deep dive now. So what we need to do is, you'll recall that Tier 1, these are words that students will teach each other, just in kind of like, I want to go to the park, right? But Tier 2 and Tier 3, Tier 2, you can recall, is a word like analyze, which is a word or vocabulary term that we need to teach our students directly and explicitly. But a Tier 2 word is oftentimes or can be used throughout all subjects. So again, whether you're teaching math, science, reading, history, even PE, we can use a word like analyze. But a Tier 3 word is a word like photosynthesis, where we only really use photosynthesis in the science subject. So we're going to place those two together, and universal screening of all students 3 times per year. That would be Tier 1, differentiated small group instruction targeting phonics gaps found through universal screening. I'm going to put that in Tier 2 or 3. Small group repeated reading intervention 3 times per week for below benchmark students. So the small group repeated would go into 2 or 3. Group level read aloud with vocabulary instruction for the entire class. Entire class goes to Tier 1, whole class systematic. I can already know right there from the first few words, it is Tier 1, daily intensive structured literacy intervention for a student with significant phonological processing deficits. Tier 2 or 3, let's check it, and we got all of them right. All right, excellent. Now let's go and match evidence-based principles with what they actually mean in practice. So we've got the principles: systematic explicit instruction, structured literacy, differentiated instruction, and fidelity and implementation. So let's go and pause the video here. I'm going to read through these, and I want you to do the same, and then go ahead and match the meanings with the principles, and then you can come back and check to see if we would match them together the same way. All right, so systematic and explicit instruction. Let's see, I'm reading through here. Teach skills directly in plan sequence. There we go. Structured literacy. Implement, design, adjust content. Systematic instruction. Yep, right there. Structured literacy. Differentiated instruction. Adjust content to meet the needs of all students. Good. And implementation, implement in evidence-based program. There we go. And let's check our answers. And 4 out of 4, we are good to go. Thank you so much for watching. This video is proudly presented by foundationsofreading.com, here to help you ace that upcoming exam of yours and make passing really simple. I will see you in future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and best of luck on your upcoming exam.